close to directly above the wheel. Once you're in this position, gently engage the muscles of your core, like around the abs and the lower back. And when you do this, your back should be pretty flat, as I'm showing here. Now what you want to do is get a feel for that flat back so that you don't do something like this. A curve in the lower back is not ideal, alright? So you want to make sure that back stays as flat as possible. Another thing people do sometimes is they arch their back like this, and that's also not ideal. Again, you want to try to keep your back nice and flat. So with that in mind, slowly start letting the ab wheel roll out in front of you, bringing your hands slightly in front of your shoulders. Then check if you're in frame, if you're filming a YouTube video, and then pull that ab wheel back to the starting position. Now the way I do that is by pressing with my arms and shoulders down into the ground and pulling with my lats. You're pulling the wheel back. So keep working on that, just going slightly forward, all right? You're not trying to go all the way forward. As a beginner, that would be too much. What you'll notice is the more your hands go forward in front of your shoulders, the more tension you feel in your core, specifically the front of your core, like the rectus abdominis, which is the six-pack, the transverse abdominis, internal obliques, external obliques, all those muscles around your abs. So keep working on this kneeling rollout, and what you're going to notice is as days and weeks go by, you'll be able to roll forward more and more, getting a further reach of your hands out in front of your shoulders. Your core, your arms, your shoulders, even your upper back are going to be building strength to help support yourself in this movement. And eventually you're going to find that you can go even closer to the ground, all right, starting to get your face looking straight down at the ground below you. And at this point, you're really going to start to feel more tension on your upper back, your shoulders, and even your lats as you really open up the shoulders to get your face down to the floor. So this, what I'm demonstrating right here, is what I would consider a full kneeling rollout, going so close to the floor that your nose is almost touching. And when you're in that position down here at the bottom, notice that my back is still pretty flat, right? I'm engaging that posterior pelvic tilt, keeping my back flat by engaging the core for stabilization. Now, if you feel like you can't open your shoulders quite enough, then perhaps a good lat stretch is what you need. And one lat stretch that I really recommend and I use a lot is from yoga, actually, where from a kneeling position you bring your butt to your heels, chest down to the knees, and then outstretch your arms in front of you. This is what's called child's pose. What I really like about child's pose is that gravity is doing the work for you. So you just let your head kind of sink down, feel a good stretch in your lats right there where the arrow is pointing. And the closer your nose or jaw gets to the floor, then the deeper the stretch. And how about some extra exercises you can do for your ab wheel? The first one here doesn't require the ab wheel, but will help you prepare for it and strengthen for it. And that is to get into a straight arm plank, step your hands out in front of your shoulders, and hold what's called an extended plank. And this really tenses up the core for stabilization, just like the ab wheel does. In fact, the ab wheel pretty much capitalizes on this concept of extending your arms in front of your shoulders during a plank and tensing up the core. Another exercise you can do is a plank, but instead of your hands on the floor for stabilization, you can actually put your hands on the handles of your ab wheel. And since the ab wheel wants to roll forward and backwards and topple over side to side, this adds a dynamic of stabilization that you don't typically get in a plank. So definitely try that out as well. And once you're doing the full kneeling rollouts, you also want to try this, where instead of going straight forward, you roll out and veer off to one side, making a diagonal kind of direction. And then you're going to come back and then veer off in the other direction. And I call these V rollouts because you're essentially making the letter V from the center point going diagonally in both directions. Veering off to the sides like this is going to challenge the sides of your abdominal wall more, specifically the internal and external obliques and the transverse abdominis. So a quick recap, remember as you work on these kneeling rollouts to gradually progress until you get closer and closer face to the floor. Remember that your lat flexibility might have to be increased with the child's pose stretch like I had to increase mine, and you'll need some strength from the lats and the shoulders to pull down on that ab wheel to return to the starting position. And of course, tense your entire core to keep that back flat.